Hey everybody, Norm from Destin, and today I have a fun Star Trek themed model kit assembly. So a couple weeks ago, I was browsing Star Trek forums and subreddits as you do, and I saw something that I needed to have. A maker out there named Jason Anderson has designed and fabricates and sells miniature warp cores from the starships across Star Trek. So whether it's the Enterprise NX-01 to Enterprise E to Voyager, or what I'm putting together today, my favorite, the Enterprise D Galaxy class warp core. He sells them in small size and a large size, and for the Enterprise D model, he actually has released the 3D printing files along with a parts list of all the electronics and lights that you can make your own little warp core desk lamp. So of course I needed one. So I actually reached out to Jason, told him that while he prints his out in FDM, I actually wanted to have this warp core printed in resin. So got the files, processed them, sliced them, sent them over to our Form 4 printer, and these are the parts. Not only have a lovely base that he's designed with some of that paneling of a starship, that aesthetic, but this is what you'll probably recognize. This is that center part of the warp core, where the lithium crystals live in here. Geordi sometimes pulls them out. It lives right at the end of engineering. I'm not exactly sure what scale this would be. I want to say maybe like 1/18th scale, yeah, maybe. And then it goes all the way up a little over a foot tall to the top with some various components that then get stacked on top. Jason supplies a list of all the parts that you would need to buy to assemble your own, but he also very graciously sent over a pre-assembled electronics kit. So this is all 3D printed parts in the core. There are LED lights arranged in a very organized way so that you do get the animation. Can't wait to see this lit up. And then also with controls and a circuit board as well. So today we're gonna be cleaning up these 3D printed parts, doing a little bit of sanding, priming, choosing actually the color finish. That might be something that helps to debate about, and taking them over to the cave to do some of that processing before doing the final assembly here. But before we go over to the cave, we do have the clear parts, of course, the clear coils that make up the 4 parts of the warp core. Those have just finished printing in our Form 4, and so let's go process those and get started. So we've been loving using the Form 4 to print clear parts specifically, and these are the last parts to print on the warp core. Now, one of the best things to happen to resin printing the past couple of years is flexible build plates. Traditional build plate is like this, and I'm going to be prying or scraping off parts. The rafts for the parts on the Form 4, at least when I slice them, have a lip, so make it easy to pop off. But sometimes it can be tough, and I have gouged my hand at least once. So this just came in. This is the new Build Platform 2 for the Form 4, and it has these tabs, which theoretically will let me pop them off easily. This is the first time I'm using this, so let's see how satisfying this is going to be. They just popped off. They just popped off. They just popped off. All right, let's go wash these. See you in 20 minutes. So with these pieces, as I'm doing some sanding, I know that I'm not gonna actually see this ring. What I need this to do is to fit inside the base, and another counterpart fits inside the top. So that is what I would call a good test fit. And what's happening here is I printed these directly on the plate. Using the flex build plate, I can do that, easily pop them off, not ruin any of the model, and I don't need supports. That's the best part. So much of this cleanup right now are for the little nubs that the support points have attached to. The downside is with resin printing, you get what's called an elephant's foot. Because of the way the liquid resin can droop and because of the exposure time, you usually have the extended exposure time for the first couple layers, the base of a print, the point at which it touches that base, the plate, can sometimes expand out, over cures a little bit. And so a part like this, which will be printed flat, you can see that there's a little bit of a lip all around, and that lip is called the elephant's foot. In software, on some of the slicers, you can compensate for that by underexposing for the first couple layers. That's not what I can do here, and so I'm just cleaning that up as best as I can. This goes right here. Bam, nice. It's great. So that's gonna go like that. And that's gonna go like that. Oh yeah, I need to clean this guy up a little bit. Ugh, let me just, that's what I'll do. So my parts are sanded. They've been rinsed. I'm not using like an ultrasonic cleaner or anything to clean them, but the next step will be putting some primer on these before we choose a paint color. But while these dry, I'm gonna pay attention to the clear parts. Again, I went for a resin print instead of an FDM print. I think the fidelity is a little bit higher, look a little bit more nicer, won't see any of the layer lines, but when printing clear with resin, what you get is actually something that's pretty clear. I can make this go almost transparent with a gloss coat or something that will act as a filler to make this really, really shiny. But I want the opposite of that. If you remember the warp core in the Enterprise D, it's actually more of an opaque translucency that you see for the coils with the blue lights behind it. So I think I'm gonna hit this stuff with some matte clear coat, maybe a couple coats of that, and see how much light I can lose and how much opaqueness I can add to these clear parts. So I'll do that while these dry. Okay, so we have sanded parts. They have a light coat of primer on them, but most importantly, these clear parts, two coats of matte clear coat, which, as you can see, has added some diffusion to it. Now, I still think, because you can see, my fingers through here, I think it's going to need to be a little bit more opaque. So I did buy some vellum that I might line the insides of each of these with just to add some more diffusion. But at least the outside isn't super glossy, which is what I want. Also have my warp core base pieces, and I think it's time to put some color on these before we get to assembly. I've been thinking about this a lot. Looking at screen grabs of the warp core. Now, Jason, as he sells these, I think he puts it and prints it in like a galaxy gray, dark gray filament, which is a nice little sparkle in there. And looking at the screen grabs, I think the warp core, engineering is a pretty dark area, and there are a little bit of spotlights on there. So I want to say it's like a dark gray, but there are obviously lots of different shades of gray. So after doing some paint tests, I've settled on kind of like a gunship gray. This is a gunship gray from Tamiya. I'm going to coat it on this And my plan is to finish it with a light dusting of a darker gray metallic. Not to do full dark gray metallic, but have an undercoat of this gray and then just a dusting of that. That's the plan. We'll see how it goes. So let's get gray onto these parts.
I think you'd go even a little more on the metallic, but that looks really, no, that looks great.
I think that's speckling, right? Yeah, right? Gives it a little bit of that scale too, like, you know,
Yeah.
Okay, we're back at the tested studio and the parts are painted, the clear parts are matte coated, and we're ready for some near final assembly. Now I say near final because I also realized there's one component I didn't actually prepare for today, which is some wire, 1/16 of an inch wire that's gonna be, it's gonna be supposed to be between these parts to frame the coil. And that's going to be installed later. So it won't be fully complete, but I wanted to go to some of the fun part, the electronics, and test electronics and just see how bright it is, because I want to make this a little bit more opaque, I think. So Jason has done all the wiring. I mean, this is really, really nice job. It's really, really cool. It looks like a lightsaber almost, doesn't it? Right? I printed the parts out that he released for the files online. So the core, the frame for the LEDs are actually these two, I guess, these cores. They go back to back, and what you can barely see is there's actually a channel. Well, there's multiple channels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 channels that go down the full length of this core, and that's where the LEDs are wired. When I first saw this, my assumption was it was LEDs wrapped around the circumference of the core, but no, they're actually LEDs that go up and down and up and down, and makes total sense. And it's just a really clever way to arrange all these and then have them programmed to animate. He also has it configured to a circuit board. So this is the controller that has power, and it's where he uploaded the programming. But let's do a soft install of this, which I believe is going to be right here. Before we solder this on, we will plug into power. And then we'll use the switch here to turn the whole thing on, hopefully. Oh, there it goes. Oh, that's so cool. It's so bright. Oh, we have power. Wow. Oh, yeah, 2 layers at a time for the animation. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Obviously very cool. I've paused it. Let's get one of these coils to go over it. See how that looks. Yeah, not quite diffuse enough. You can see the individual of the spots of the light still in here. I believe the original set was done with, you know, some type of, it must have been a series of neon tubes or something, really bright. But yeah, we're gonna need to diffuse that. So I have some vellum. We're gonna just cut this out, line the inside of it, and see how much more we can diffuse it. Oh, much better. With the vellum, without. I feel good about it. How about you? You feel good about it? Yeah, let's do it. It's that time of day. So, okay. This is keyed. So it only goes in one way from the base. Great. There are a few moments of truth going on here because in my correspondence with Jason, he has not put together a resin version of this, only FDM. And so the fitment, while in the CAD, is perfect. In reality, I'm not sure. I might need to be shaving down some parts, a little more give here and there. We'll see. We'll see. Remember earlier? Do you remember earlier when I was talking about printing these parts flat on a build plate? Well, the other artifact, in addition to the elephant's foot that I had to go stand off, is that there are holes on the base of these. Holes for the piano wire to go all the way through, holes for the other sections of the coil to register into. We don't see many holes here, and that's because printing this on the build plate means that the holes were sealed up by the resin. They're there, they're just sealed up. Another downside to not using supports and printing at an angle. So we're gonna need to hog those out and free those. Oh, there goes one of them. That's another one. I'm so tempted to plug this in just to see what the lights look like. Should we do it? Should we do it? You know what? I'm gonna do it. It might not even make the edit. It'll just be satisfying for me. Friends, it looks good. It looks good. Okay. The actual core. A little tricky here. So there are panels that at some point I'm going to put on the inside of here and actually adhere to diffuse the core. I'm not going to do that today. That will be part of a final assembly. Okay, clearly not fully assembled yet, but we have a test fit. It looks amazing. I love the colors. I love the metallic finish, just a little bit of speckling on here. A few more things to do, I know, with the rods that surround the coils there. Have to fit everything together, bolt everything together, tighten everything up, but let's plug this in. And there we go. That's pretty amazing. I'm very pleased. Jason, you have designed a wonderful thing that warms this Star Trek fan's heart. Oh, tabletop warp core. I'm gonna take this home, take it apart, make sure I get those rods in, get everything bolted and glued together. And yeah, super fun. I can tell you, probably better just to go to Jason's Etsy store and buy one that he can put together, that he's put together many times before. But if you want to 3D print your own, the files are available, and Jason has listed out all of the electronics components to do your own assembly. And I will link those all, like I said, in the comments and description below. But next time you see this, hopefully it will be in its final state, ready for any at-scale Galaxy-class starship. Hope you guys had fun. I think I did. Pretty sure I did. Yeah, this is amazing. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you guys so much for watching that video. We have some brand new merch available at the store. A dog's age ago, I mean like 2018, 2019, this wonderful graphic designer named Brian Otterer reached out to us and sent us some stickers. He has a design firm called Dash 3 Dots, and we loved his stickers so much we wanted to sell them on the merch store. Well, he updated them with our new logo, and we've got Adam in Martian spacesuit sticker. We've got Adam in the shuttle suit sticker. We've got Adam in the Apollo suit sticker. And my personal favorite, Adam in the alien spacesuit sticker. Get yours now, tested-store.com. Hey!